Our next guest is Brent Willis. He's the president and CEO of Voyageur Pharmaceuticals, trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol VM. Brent, welcome.
How are you? Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate being on your show.
You bet. Brent, let's start with an overview. What is the business of Voyageur Pharmaceuticals?
Well, Voyageur Pharmaceuticals, we're focused on radio contrast products for the healthcare industry based on barium and iodine minerals. And we are moving forward to fully integrate from mining to the bottle, getting it out to pharmaceutical industry, and becoming fully integrated. We coined the term from the earth to the bottle, and by doing so, we believe we'll have the lowest ingredient costs in the industry, allowing us to be very competitive moving forward.
Global marketplace like for barium and iodine?
It's roughly around $7 billion a year. We're focused on North America to start our project, which is around $1.6 billion a year for iodine and barium contrast.
Okay. And so tell me about the projects where you're going to mine these substances.
Well, our barium resources are in BC, and our iodine resources are in Utah.
Okay, so barium and iodine don't occur in the same mineral deposit.
No, so barium's hard rock. Here's, I have a sample here of barite. It's white, it's environmentally friendly. It's hosted within a dolomite. You can see the dolomite on the side, and we just crush it and gravity separate it, and it comes into a small chunk like that, gets shipped to a milling facility, and is turned into a powder, which goes into a bottle of barium contrast.
Okay, so a lot of people don't really know what is barium and iodine used for in the pharmaceutical industry.
Well, with barium and iodine, they reflect radiation, so they're used to contrast within the body. Let's say you're looking for a tumor or you have heart issues. Barium contrast is swallowed or with an enema, and iodine contrast is injected. So we have injectables with iodine and consumables with oral consumables with barium sulfate. So a lot of people recognize it as what's called a barium swallow. A lot of people have taken barium swallows for throat issues and problems in the stomach.
Okay, so what point of development are you at in these deposits?
Well, our Francis Creek deposit, we drilled that in 2017. We defined a resource. We have approximately 62,000 tons of barium sulfate that is indicated, and another 69,000 tons that's inferred. And to give you a rough idea for our contrast business, 60,000 tons would be a 30-year mine life. So it's a very high margin business, and you don't need a lot of it. What's very unique about this is the purity of this deposit. We believe it's the highest grade deposit in the world. We just verified that with testing with SGS Minerals, which came back with over 98% barium sulfate content within our barite, which is very significant in this business.
I see. And what does the supply picture look like globally for barium and iodine at this point?
Well, on the barite side, there's only one supplier of natural occurring pharmaceutical grade barite, and that's out of China, and they're only allowed to export 5% of their production worldwide. So we'll have the only natural barium sulfate deposit outside of China. Our competitors, majority of them are buying man-made, what's called barium precipitate or blank fix. It's a very expensive product. And on the iodine component of it, there's an abundance of iodine. It's easily produced from brine water, and there are producers out of the United States that we have access to begin our project by buying iodine flake. And how it works is iodine flake is then turned into what's called iopamidol. And we're looking at building an iopamidol plant, which will allow us to be highly competitive in that business as well. So we are looking at producing our own iodine, and just as we're producing our own barite. So we are fully integration on both products, and we can start both projects by importing third-party minerals and begin cash flowing prior to getting our mines up in production.
I see. And when do you expect the mines to be in production?
Within the next 2 years is our goal. We've we should be doing a bulk sample on our barite project next year, which will supply us with a number of years of supply for our contrast business. And with the iodine, we'll be moving that forward over the next 2 to 3 years. And those are the kind of the timelines on actual production.
Sure. All right. And tell me, how much do you need to get, how much Capex do you need to get to production on both these projects?
Well, the Capex on the barium sulfate side is roughly between 8 and 12 million. We're working with SGS Minerals currently. We're doing a preliminary economic assessment. They should have all the Capex information for us by within the next 6 months. And upon finalizing the engineering on the project, we'll be moving forward with the financing to raise the Capex for that. So relatively, it's a simple project. It's, you know, it's like a gravel pit, so to speak. It's going to be a quarry, not a mine, on the barium. And so it's a very low Capex with high margin.
Sure. Okay. And on the iodine side, what's the mineral mining technique you anticipate?
Well, on the iodine, iodine's produced from brine water, saltwater brines, and it's one of the easiest minerals to extract from a brine water. A Capex on a 200-ton-a-year blowdown iodine plant is roughly between $3 and $4 million US for a plant, and then to build a iopamidol plant, that is we're currently working with an engineering company out of the US that's just going to start looking at that. Our estimates are around 50 million for an iopamidol plant.
Okay, so I'm curious as to, I mean, there's such a small source of supply for barium. Are there other deposits in the world? Like, I'm just trying to get a sense of the potential competitive landscape in the future if barium actually finds itself in short supply.
Well, there's a lot of barite in the world, but it's a matter of finding barite that is pure. The purity for pharmaceutical, for a human being to ingest it, the metal content has to be extremely low, and barium sulfate is associated with base metals. So the Francis Creek deposit is very unique in that it's very clean. You know, my brother and I, we've been in the barium sulfate business for over 30 years. We've looked at all the deposits in Western Canada. We've been around the world looking at barite, and we've never seen a deposit that is so uniquely clean. There's no mercury, there's no arsenic, there's a very clean deposit.
Well, that's great. And it strikes me that these are not exactly household words. Is the reception among the institutional investor marketplace pretty positive for this type of thing, or is it something that you have to educate before they actually are willing to invest?
Well, it's definitely a challenge when people have never heard of the term barium sulfate or barite or barium contrast or iodine contrast. But once people understand the market and our full integration plan, all of a sudden they start really understanding that this is a great opportunity and we have a lot of upside moving forward. Okay,
great. Brent, we're going to leave it there for now. I wish you the best of luck on your development, and I look forward to following the story. Thanks for joining me today.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you very much.